First, let me thank Senator Shaheen for her leadership on these issues and so many other issues in the United States Senate. She's listened to your comments, and I fully concur in the information that you have brought forward. That paycheck fairness is not just a matter of fairness for women, it's a matter of fairness for our country. And not only will women benefit, our economy will benefit and our country will benefit by making sure that equal pay for equal work is what happens in our country. So I just really wanted to thank you. I'd be glad to yield.
Yes, will my colleague yield the floor for a minute? I thank you very much, Senator Cardin from Maryland, and point out that I know this is an area where you also have worked very hard over many years, and it's the kind of issue that men and women should be able to agree on. This is something that is not fair for women, but it's also not fair for their husbands, their sons, and I know you feel that way because when your wife isn't getting what she deserves, then you and your family also hurt as a result.
Madam President, let me just, it's not just my wife, it's also I have two beautiful grandchildren, granddaughters, and they're going to do just fine, but I want to make sure that they are treated fairly in the workplace, and I want all people treated fairly in the workplace. So I thank Senator Shaheen, and as I said, equal pay for equal work, paycheck fairness, is truly an American value. And I thank all of our leaders here. I particularly want to acknowledge Senator Mikulski, my colleague from Maryland, for her extraordinary leadership on pay equity issues, on this particular issue on paycheck fairness, and for the work that she's done throughout her whole career as a real leader on gender issues. As Senator Shaheen pointed out, today we call Equal Pay Day. And the reason for that is that women on average earn about 77% of what a man earns for doing the same work. We're not talking about different work, we're talking about doing the exact same work. Women are discriminated against in the amount of compensation they receive. So on average, women have to work 3 additional months every year to earn the same amount of money that a man earns for doing the same work. That's just not right and needs to change. Today, I was at the White House with the President and several of our colleagues. Lilly Ledbetter was there. As I know the presiding officer recalls, Lilly Ledbetter has been one of the real leaders on pay equity. She worked at Goodyear for over 20 years. And after being there for 2 decades, she found out from one of her coworkers who anonymously passed her on information about what people were making, that for 20 years, she was receiving less compensation for doing the exact same work that her male counterparts were doing. She had no idea about this. There was no justification for the difference. So she decided that she would do something about it, not just for herself, but for those who are in the workplace should be treated fairly. So she brought action. And she took this case all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States. And guess what the Supreme Court did? They said, you know, Lilly Ledbetter, you're right. You were discriminated against. You were paid less because of your gender. But guess what? Because it's been going on for so long, you don't have any remedy. Now, that's absolutely ridiculous, a 5-4 decision of the Supreme Court. Now, it cost Lilly Ledbetter hundreds of thousands of dollars that she lost in compensation as a result of that discriminatory action. Congress took action and changed it. I was proud to be part of the Congress that cast our vote. It was the first bill signed by President Obama shortly after he took office. And I remember the pride that we all had, that we were able to make a major step forward on behalf of an enforceable right for women to be able to be paid equal pay for equal work. But the job wasn't done. Tomorrow we can take another giant step forward by advancing and I hope enacting the Paycheck Fairness. And I hope my colleagues on both sides of the aisle will support this legislation so we can continue to make progress along that road of equal pay for equal work. In the White House today, President Obama took action on his own. As he has said, he will use the executive power to do what he can to advance the cause of equality in this country. So he signed 2 executive orders. The first is what we call the Sunshine Executive Order that will require federal contractors
to allow their employees to share information about their salaries. They can no longer take retaliatory action because coworkers share their salary information. And the second executive order will require contractors to provide information to the Department of Labor as to what their salary and compensation amounts are based on gender, so that there can at least be a record to make sure that employers that are doing work for the federal government, that are benefiting from the U.S. taxpayers, are doing the right thing as far as equal pay for equal work. These are two very, very important changes that the President has instituted through the use of the power of the White House. We can do something permanent about it by the passage of Paycheck Fairness. And that's what is our responsibility, and I hope we will get that done. It will make a better America. As we pointed out, yes, it is about women being treated fairly in the workplace. It is about my 2 granddaughters being treated fairly in the workplace. But it's about our economy. It's about our values, all of the above. It also, I might tell you, affects retirement security. Because women aren't paid as much, they don't have as much money when they retire. They're more strapped for how they spend their money. They have less money available for retirement security. And women over the age of 50 receive only about 56% of what men of similar age receive in pension benefits because they just haven't earned as much. And a good part of that is that they're not being paid fairly in the workplace. Paycheck fairness will certainly help. We want to give a fair shot to every woman in this country. Many are the sole support for their families. Eliminating the wage gap will provide $450 billion of additional income into our economy. Now, you know what that goes for? It goes to buy a new car. It goes to help pay for their children's education. It provides the wherewithal that women can go out and pay their rents and their mortgage payments and take care of their families. And they can even put money away for retirement so that they have the security that they need after they retire. It helps to grow a middle class in this country, and that's what we all should be about. So paycheck fairness helps give women a fair shot of equal pay for equal work. It requires employers to demonstrate that wage disparities between men and women holding the same position and doing the same work are not related to their gender. It seems simple enough. Doing different work? Obviously, the pay is different. Same work, why is there a difference? Ensures that the remedies available to victims of gender discrimination are similar to the remedies available to those who are discriminated against based upon their race or national origin. We have in place a way that we can correct this. We know how to use those tools. Let's also use it for those who have been discriminated against because of their gender on their pay. It updates the Equal Pay Act to make it more in line with the class action procedures available under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. This gives us an effective remedy to take care of a class of workers who have been discriminated against in the workplace. And it prohibits employers, and this is very, very important, it prohibits employers from punishing or retaliating against workers who share salary information. That's what the President did today by the stroke of his pen. For those companies that do business with the federal government, we can make it universal in the workplace that we shine light on what is happening. As former Supreme Court Justice Louis Brandeis observed, sunlight is said to be the best disinfectant. We strive for greater transparency in our government because we know that will help provide a better government, allow our workers to share information without fear that they will be discriminated against or action taken by their employer. Our mission as United States Senators is clearly written in just the first short words contained in the preamble of the Constitution. Our mission is to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Paycheck fairness is essential for us carrying out that mission. I urge my colleagues to support this very important legislation. And with that, Madam President, I would suggest the absence of a quorum.